What exactly can one define as a traditional family? See, there is no such thing as a traditional family. Family is a concept that we made in each and every language to portray the union between a male body and a female body in order to create a child. This is something universal because at any sexual or let's say gender related species, you will see they have these specific genders who together will create their offspring and will perpetrate their race. The only reason that these fuckers who want to ruin humanity, ruin our children, and make us live in all sorts of illusions and the such, these fuckers don't want anything good for humanity. They've been doing their dark agendas against humanity for hundreds of years, and they're not gonna stop. The only reason they're inventing stuff is because their madness grows by the day. And when their madness grows, just like any narcissist, they need a pillar of support in order to install the idea of support into people so that people end up supporting their agendas. Just like you see a lot of people nowadays supporting all sorts of agendas that don't suit them in any way, shape, or form. It's just a manipulation of emotions. It's just money making out of people's misery. Because once something becomes a business, well, everything will be bad, right? Because your whole life is someone else's business. Someone controls your economy. Someone controls the money that you have, the flow of money that you get. Someone else controls your health. Because everything that you put into your body more or less is poisoned to a certain extent because of our industrial activity and our activity in general, but also because some people prefer killing other people for fun. And well, it is some people's agenda to exterminate all people on the planet, or as many of those, because, well, that's what one holy book of theirs says. So one has to understand that throughout history, a lot of pseudoscientific pieces of work have been invented in order to support such um, agendas. Just like Blumenbach in the 18th century invented the theory, or let's call it the pseudo theory, of the races in order to reinforce the idea of black slavery, because they knew that a lot of years into the future, they will simply be capable of making use of the pains that black people will have felt. And they can cause so much mayhem and so much hatred and therefore separation. Because when people live genocidal agendas, not practice them, they live genocidal agendas, separation is their only weapon because otherwise people cannot defend themselves. They cannot, these fuckers cannot exist in a world represented by love and communion because those will create bonds that they cannot easily separate, right? So they have to create a lot of mayhem, a lot of killing, and then finger pointing that whoever does not abide to the agendas is the bad guy, right? They're the bad folks. Just like the separation that was um, well done in such brutal way, consciously and especially unconsciously during the pandemic and ever since. Everything nowadays seems to become a war of whether you trust this one or whether you trust that one. We only need to seek what lies within you. All the truths lie within you, but they don't need you to discover that, to read that, because once you observe the truths that lie within you, within each and every one of us lie the same truths. The whole wisdom of the cosmos lies within us. The whole history of the cosmos lies into our DNA. But why would they want you to know that? Because once you know that, you will know that you don't need their sick society. You don't need to live your life as if your whole life is supposed to be a rat race and gain some shitty amount of money, which is also going to be taxed because in some mystical, magical book called, a holy book of some fuckers, it's written that, they must not work but make everyone else work for them. See, in this life, you will be taught a lot of lies because why bother teaching people the right things when you can teach them the opposite and make it their honor of living life like that? When you live life like that, you will end up with the deviance that we find today. They're only calling it the traditional family because in the end they want it to sound obsolete in the hearts and minds of the children of nowadays. How have problems occurred in society all the time? Well, by pitting the newer generations against the older generations, because the newer generations are pure. They always want something better, they always want something new. But it must be imposed upon them the misery of the old generations, because they already bear the misery of the older generations and their misfulfillments. Yes, all the newer generations have on them all the misfulfillments of the older generations. But the simple problem is, well, that has to be imposed again and again so that the newer generations become bigger monsters. It's all nothing else but a recycling of old ideas. It's the same idea used again and again but with slightly different faces. It's the same strategy. Provoke hysteria, provoke separation, and then rule them through the chaos. And always offer some pseudo savior from time to time so that these false messiahs will act as so-called heroes so that people will remain trapped in this same idea that someone else is going to save them sooner or later so that they remain separated, ignorant and alone therefore. So they're only inventing terms for you. And when you look now at how horrible, disgusting, and even aggressive mainstream media is, once a new agenda is to be proposed, you will see it everywhere for a few days because the ignorance will simply embrace it as if it always has existed. So once that exists, once that is in place, people will embrace the new. You will see all those useless influencers doing memes about something new that appears, a new form of slavery. You're losing some new rights. But you'll see mainstream media, they will present it that it's the new norm, right? They will make memes about it. They will make fun out of it. They will present it in such a good light until you become miserable enough that you want to break out of it. And in most situations, it's going to be too late. So hopefully this video raised a bit of awareness. You are appreciated. Take care. Enjoy life. And this being said, Ferenc Jan Board signing out.